Hi guys, Sarah Paulson here with NotYourGrandmasCrafting.com. I'm starting a new card series called Gettin Grungy with it. I'm really excited about it. This is my style of card making. It's my go-to. So let's go ahead and get started. The base that I used is the baked brown sugar, and what I did was I cut it 8.5 by 5.5, and I scored it at 4 1/4. I've run everything that I needed cut out through my Big Shot, and what it is the floral framelits. As you can see, they all go with each other, as it does with the stamp set Daydream Medallion. So we need to do a little bit to this base before we can move on. So let's go ahead and start with our first stamp. What we're going to use is the Shop Around Jumbo Wheel. This is a favorite of mine. It's very old-timey, and it's got a great look. So let's go ahead and ink up our wheel. And I don't get too precise with this. I just eyeball it. So I'm gonna run it right over the front of the card. All right, the next step that we're going to take is we're going to kind of give the inside edge of this cutout a little bit of distressing color with the baked brown. A nice glow of the baked brown sugar on the edge. And let's go ahead and just fold this and use your bone folder to get a nice crisp edge for your card. And we're going to set this aside for just a second. Now, as we work on the second layer, what this is I cut a piece of the 2013-2015 In Color Coordinations in Pistachio Pudding, and I cut it at 5 1/4 by 4 inches. And I ran this through my Big Shot as well. Now, I distressed the edges of the coordinations paper. The coordinations paper distresses really nicely. I saved a corner here so I can show you. This is the Stampin' Distress tool. It's a lot of fun to use, and I will show you why. Let's go ahead and just take your blade and just run it against the side of the paper. And as you can see, it lifts up like the first layer of the paper, and it makes it look messy and old and messed with, and just kind of the look that's in right now. And once again, with your baked brown sugar classic pad, go ahead and hit the sides of where you just distressed and give it that dirty look. I think that this look is pretty rad, and I like everything to look like it's a billion years old when it's actually not. So I'm constantly trying to achieve better ways to do this. So every edge is distressed now, and I've gone through and kind of just hit the inside edges of where the framelit went through the Big Shot. So we're gonna run a second stamp over this pistachio pudding, and it is the dictionary stamp. So we're going to go ahead and ink up the dictionary stamp with the baked brown sugar. So we're just going to place the whole stamp, over the pistachio pudding in coordinations and give it a good push. See, and now we have pretty nice looking, you know, old-timey dictionary. Was there once words there? You know, it looks cool. So put that stamp aside and put the pistachio pudding aside just for a second to dry. So the next layer underneath this is a 3.5 by 3.5 piece of basic black cardstock. And what I've done here is I've taken the Chevron stamp and I embossed it. And I like to use the Top Boss. It's just a good embossing stamp pad. And I use the Stampin' Up! White embossing powder. And I just emboss this whole thing. So what we're gonna do with this is we're gonna come back to the base of our card and we're gonna go ahead and fit this on the inside of the base of the card. And beautiful. All right. Now we're gonna go back to our pistachio pudding and we're gonna use our snail to just hit up the back of it. And then this is something that I just eyeball. I don't feel like this is one of those things you have to have an exact measurement, so. Once again, working with the floral framelits, layer by layer, as you can see, they get smaller. So I'm gonna go ahead and stamp this using the Daydream medallion, and I'm going to be using the classic Stampin' Pad Crisp Cantaloupe. So once again, just hit up your edges and give it that dirty look. So we're just gonna go ahead and stick a few Stampin' Dimensionals on this. And go ahead and stick it right in the middle there. Use the smallest of the framelits to stick in the center, and the paper that I'm using is the Modern Medley Designer Series paper, and I have just a Stampin' Dimensional on the back of it. Oh, you know what? Sorry, skipped a step. Okay, I have a few strips of the Modern Medley Designer Series paper. I cut them at 1/2 inch and I snipped them to look like little ribbons, and I adhered them to each other. We're going to go ahead and stick these right in the middle. Okay, now we're going to put this on, and this is going to cover the top of those. Okay, beautiful. All right. Our next step is our ribbon, and this is the natural chevron ribbon. And if your edges are kind of messy, let it be. It just adds to the look. And again, let some of your distressed edge show. Okay, the last step that we're going to take is using the vintage faceted designer buttons, excuse me. I really love these because they remind me of those old glass doorknobs, and I think they're so fun. And what I did here was I took just some twine and tied it in a bow through it. And a lot of people tend to use glue dots for embellishments like these. I like the sticky strip because I think it has a stronger hold. So go ahead, and I've already applied the sticky strip. So go ahead and just stick it in the center. And there you go. So this is the card. I think they're a lot of fun. Any which way you want to give little details, you know, those are up to you. These are, you know, when you're doing cards that have this much detail on the outside, I tend to leave these blank inside and just put one little stamp there in the corner. This one says for you, just simple, plain, because the outside has so much. So I hope you enjoyed. Tune in for the next Grungy project. Have a good night, all.